In this lecture, we're going to talk about plot twists. This is another thing that can keep the reader reading by making the reader squirm. So this is what you do for a plot twist. You've got your plot laid out. So let's say the plot is to go into an area and save some children or something like that. Okay, so we're going into the jungle to save some children. And then later, what you do is you suddenly change course and you have the plot be completely different. So when they make it there to save the children in this village, it turns out that it's actually a guerrilla compound and they get ambushed. And suddenly there's a big firefight and they're wondering, where is the children and all this? What happened? So suddenly your plot twists and the reader is thrilled by these things. Now, I want to look at 3 elements having to do with plot twists. The first is the switch, where you present a different resolution than expected. So you're going along and let's say you've got a plot where you're saying, this is a murder mystery and you got this detective that is going to try to solve who the murderer is. And then by the end of the book, you find out the detective is actually the murderer. Wow, that's a winning plot twist. So what you do is you give a different aspect. You have the reader thinking all along they know what's going on, and then you switch things on them. The other thing to consider doing is deceiving them using red herrings, which I'm about to talk about in the next section, so I won't go too heavily into them. The idea is that you plant something that makes it look so obviously like, okay, the classic red herring is the butler did it, right? You make it look like somebody did it, and then it turns out they were innocent. So that's a red herring where you plant an intentional falsehood to mislead the reader. The final is to trick them. Readers love a good writing trick, and switches or plot twists and red herrings are a great way to trick them in. Now let's talk a little bit more about the red herring. The red herring is similar to a plot twist, except what you're doing is you're laying down false leads to fool the reader into believing the wrong thing. So then you reveal the correct thing and they go, whoa, wow, all this time I thought it was, all of this time I thought it was so obvious that the knife with the fingerprints all over it, that the murderer was, of course, the butler. But then it turns out that the butler was framed by the lord of the manor, right? So you laid down red herrings. What you're doing is you're doing a plot twist, effectively, but you're also misleading. You're giving them something that is so tempting to believe that you know they're going to jump on believing it, and then you pull the rug out from under them. And that's a red herring. Now, in the next section, we're going to talk about carry endings, which are a great way to do kind of a plot twist ending to get the reader reading into the next book. I'll see you in that lecture.